welcome to my channel, Haylee Marie Vintage. Today, as you can see, we are here for a haul. This is all the fabric, notions, etc. that I have got since, I believe, November of 2023. So we're looking at January, February, March, April, May, June. So we're looking at 8 months of haul, essentially. I've been trying to be pretty intentional about what I'm bringing to my stash. This is gonna go the usual way. I'm gonna go through my notions and tools and whatever's in here, then patterns, then fabric, to show you what I picked up in the last 8 months. I've been trying to really slow down my hauls, and I think I've been relatively successful. I don't think, considering 8 months, excluding New York, we don't talk about New York, but 8 months, I don't think this is anything too wild. And also, I've been working a little bit on rebuilding my pattern collection since I've gained weight. So I don't feel like there's 2 stacks here. I don't think that's too bad. But let's go ahead and hop in with the notions and buttons and tools and whatever else is in this madness here. So as far as buttons, one of the things I did is I ordered off of Etsy. I was looking for a specific type of button for a project, actually for this project here that I'm wearing. And they were just, these pink were a little off from this pink in a way that would bother me. So I ended up not using them, and I bought these blue ones as well because I thought these types of buttons were so freaking cute. They're like kind of gumdroppy, which I really love. Anything that kind of looks like candy, I'm a huge fan of. From that same vendor, I also bought these guys, which are 4 packets of little green guys. I thought these could be really cute. I have a ton of like 1940s patterns that feature that big like front button placket thingy-majig. I don't know why I can't speak today, but I can't. So I thought these would be good to have in my stash for one of those. Green is a really common color I can use. From the same vendor, I have 3 again. These are kind of cream with like little bullseye things. This is just my favorite type of detail on a button. I love a like cream or white button that just has that touch of detail that makes me really happy and makes me excited to put something on a garment. I feel like in the modern day of fast fashion, so many of our buttons are just kind of blah. So I'm always excited to jazz it up with something like this. And this, I think, is maybe from the same vendor. Honestly, I cannot remember where I bought half of these because it's been 8 months. Mostly on Etsy, and this is another really cute little pink guy type of button. I don't know what vendor I buy from that would put something in a plastic bag like this, so I have no idea where I got these. But they're these really nice purple buttons. Similarly, I'm sure this was an Etsy vendor. These are these nice little blue buttons with little ridges. I guess we're talking a lot about buttons first. I'll just show these all in like a big pile, essentially. But I went to an estate sale is not even the right word. I went to a random lady's house to buy some buttons. I actually had to bargain quite a bit for these because what you'll see in a little image over here is there's a lot of really interesting metal buttons here as well as shell buttons. I've kind of really gotten into carved shell buttons as like a collector's item recently because my education is actually in graphic design. I think I mention it briefly occasionally on my channel. And something I really appreciate as a graphic designer is the use of a button to be like decor or show some decoration. And she had some really excellent mother of pearl carved buttons, and then she also had a ton of metal buttons that had some really beautiful details. Most of these mother of pearl buttons I will likely never use in a project, but I really love looking at them and I feel very inspired by them. Continuing along the button line, I also picked up, so I went to Joann's looking for a certain project for buttons, and I had decision panic, so I bought too many buttons. So I picked up these, which are fairly plain, boring shank button. However, I think they could be useful in a coat or a dress or something like that. And then I also picked up these in a panic buy at Joann's. Ultimately, I really don't need these and I don't know what I was thinking, but occasionally Joann gets me. I try to be pretty good about not spending money there and instead buying things from my local vendors, but occasionally they'll get me. And this one, another random Etsy buy. They're just some like square white buttons. I've generally noticed in the last few months that I have had a hard time finding the right white buttons for a project, so I'm trying to expand that part of my collection a little bit. I feel like I don't buy white as much because I think I won't use it, even though they're very versatile and useful buttons. I just want color. I'm such a color queen that I forget that sometimes you just need a little neutral in your stash. Similar to kind of neutrals, I also in a few projects recently have been kind of bummed out I didn't have covered button options. I'm just trying to expand my covered button options. I think I have 3 different sizes here. This is the biggest size. And yeah, I'm just trying to fill some gaps in my stash. My stash is pretty extensive, but as far as covered buttons, I haven't been the best at collecting these, and sometimes I really find myself in a pinch where I want these, which is such a like sewing YouTuber problem. Like, this is not a real problem, but it is a problem I have. Another thing I picked up at that estate sale / house sale / whatever it was that I mentioned is eyelet. I got an eyelet tool. I bought an eyelet tool from Joann's. I just don't think it's great, and I really truly believe that a lot of times vintage eyelet tools are better. So I picked up this eyelet clampy guy, and then I also picked up, I actually have a different colorway of these vintage eyelets. I really like how small some of these eyelets are, so I picked up this guy, which has a bunch of different colorways, and this guy. I'm working on a couple corsets right now / always in the background. I'm going to run here. I'm figuring it out. So it's helpful to have a lot of different colors of eyelets on hand. Unrelated to eyelets, I also picked up 2 overall buttons. These ones are shiny gold. These ones are more of a brassy gold. And I use overall buckles quite a bit, and I have 4 overalls planned for the next few months. So I need to make sure I have enough overall buckles in my stash. I think I got this for Christmas from my sister, and it is a Singer ruffler foot. I had a subscriber send me a ruffler foot that was not compatible with my machine, and it kind of bums me out, so I wanted to make sure to get a ruffler foot that, Jesus Christ, I don't know what is going on with me today, but I wanted to have a ruffler foot compatible for my machine because I think this will be useful for instances. I have some like not pre-gathered eyelet trim that I think I will want to gather at some point, and I think a ruffler foot will be really useful for that. So that's my plan for this guy. I went to Shipwreck Beads, which is a giant bead warehouse in Washington. I think I'll be back when I have a specific project in mind. It was really hard to shop as someone who just like didn't know what I needed, but I did pick up these. They're not technically sew-on rhinestones, they're technically beaded rhinestones, but I picked them up because you can sew through these. And I have a few projects upcoming that it might be nice to be able to place some rhinestones. And I thought this was a great option as an alternate to when you have those kind of ones with like the 4 spikes that then you like close the spikes, but it has to go through and puncture the fabric. I thought this was a much more like fabric preserving friendly alternative. Continuing on the theme of tools, I guess, I have this guy here, which is a fabric tube inside out tool. I have tried so many fabric inside out whatever tools, and I think this one might be the most successful yet because it's designed to like quick turn a tube, which is what they all say, and I have never gotten one to work well. So this is yet another bout of those. I thought this seemed like a good idea. This is kind of almost like the chopstick idea, but with an additional tube to help keep everything smoothed and going. So we'll see how I like this. I'm sure you'll see this in a video at some point, and I'll let you know how I think. I did try to use it for a dress that is upcoming in about a month, and it didn't work great for that, but partially it's because I was trying to turn tubes of denim, and I don't think this is going to be that helpful. I think this will work better with lightweight fabric. A similar interesting vintage tool that I found, this is a needle threader. I got this at that estate sale I mentioned, and don't quite know how it works. There's like a little pedal looking thing here. It looks like it maybe holds your needle while you thread it, which could be nice because sometimes you know your hand's a little shaky and uneven. So we'll see if I like this, if it's even effective. I think its original packaging is so stinking cute. I guess a tool, I just picked up some large eye needles that are also quite thin and narrow. I'm just kind of sick of threading some small eye needles, and I don't often pick up brand new needles, so I thought it would be good to pick up some brand new needles. Hi, Spooky! Oh, my child has come to join us. Yeah, you have something to say. This video comes out on Friday, and it will be the Friday after she gets her teeth cleaned on Thursday. If I'm honest, I am so anxious about getting her teeth cleaned and having her under anesthesia. She's had all the testing. I'm gonna properly fast her and all that jazz, but I'm so anxious about the whole procedure. But her mouth smells terrible. There's a lot of buildup of stuff, and she's missing a lot of teeth. Like, there's a lot of things that point to her having dental issues that might be impacting her ability to eat. So it's really important to get her teeth cleaned. But I'm so stressed. You'll know it's Friday. You'll know if things went okay or not. But I just want to acknowledge if you have feelings when you're getting your cat's teeth cleaned, it's super normal. I've talked to a ton of people about their dogs and cats and getting their teeth cleaned, and all of them had a lot of anxiety beforehand. So it's really normal as a pet owner to just worry about your pet and getting anesthesia, to like putting them under to get their teeth cleaned. So don't feel like weird for that. I felt like I was overreacting, but I talked to a lot of people who like felt super anxious nervous or like cried before dropping their pet off at the vet for the teeth cleaning. So like, I just want to validate your feelings if you're somebody who's getting something done to take care of your animal that just also feels kind of scary and does honestly have a bit of risk. I feel like sometimes there's like a human desire to not validate those feelings, and I want to validate your feelings if you're nervous about a pet teeth cleaning. Hopefully it will all go okay. I don't know because it's in 5 days, but she's gonna be okay. She's a fighter. I guess I'll let her stay here even though she's kind of a distraction. Ma'am. Give me that. Okay. Continuing on, I have quite a few metal belt buckles. I recently made a dress with a belt buckle and I thought it turned out, gosh dang it, really well. So I've been trying to pick up some other belt buckles. I got these 3 silver metal ones, which are really fun. And then at Seattle Recreative, I picked up this gold metal one, also super cute. Then the most beautiful one, I picked this up at Seattle Recreative. I was sorting through buttons when I found this belt buckle. It is this stunning Art Nouveau, like lily petunia situation. I don't know yet what I'm gonna make it into or pair it with. Sorry, Spooky keeps blocking things, but she's cute, so it's fine. But this is a stunning belt buckle. When I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a piece. So I picked it up at Seattle Recreative that day. I'm trying to get better about making belts for things. A lot of things tell you to make belts for things and I just skip it. And I would like to get better about making belts because I think they do really up-level a piece. So for trim, one of the things I have here, this is a bundle of elastic that I picked up at Style Maker Fabrics when I was there for a sewing retreat. It's just, there's some pink, blue, cream, white, and then your like typical braided elastic. These ones are fold overs. I'm trying to remember why I picked these up. I had a very distinct reason and it is completely leaving my brain why I picked these up. Oh, it was to repair some slips and then I ended up not even using these. So I don't know, but they will go in my stash, and I don't know, you can never have too much elastic in your stash. Excuse me, Spooky. Continuing, I guess, on the kind of like trims themed, not that elastic's a trim. I have this beautiful light blue, like rosy trim. I picked up the whole roll from Allen's. I have 9 yards of this guy, and I just thought it could be useful on a lot of different projects. I have some gunny sacks planned in the future. I have some other things planned in the future that all might enjoy having a nice pretty ribbon. And honestly, I love Allen so much. I sometimes feel like I'm trying to spend money there as if I can single-handedly keep them in business. Also at Allen's, I picked up, there's this really nice, it's like a floral triangle type trim. It's really, really quite stunning. I have 7 yards of this. In general now, I pick up 7 yards of trim when I go because I've learned that 5 yards is often not enough. Excuse me. Oh, she's gone. Okay. A boring trim real quick that I picked up from Seattle Creative. It's just a lacing trim. I picked this up for potentially gunny sacks or for something I need just like a simple little drawstring for. This is just some nice cotton loopy trim. And then this I think is absolutely stunning. I picked this up at Allen's again. It's like this cotton, I don't know, I would describe it almost as eyelash. I think it could be useful for gunny sacks or as a detail on like a more simple garment. I just thought this was really pretty, and if you are in the Denver area, Allen's has really fantastic cotton trims. What you'll find in stores that look like this is polyester trims, and I'm always on the hunt for cotton because I'm trying to use mainly natural fibers, and they have a fantastic, really, really stunning variety of cotton trims. I will say cotton trims are always going to be more expensive. I'm trying to find the price tag for this one, and this was $7.50 a yard. Like, you're not gonna find cotton trims for the price of polyester, but I promise it's worth it for our planet to not put things in the landfill or like just out in general. Not that I'm saying anything I make is going to go to landfill, but eventually I'm sure at some point it will. So I'm trying to be more conscious about the materials I use, and some of that is not using polyester trim. The last cotton trim I picked up from Allen's it's this beautiful like loop-de-loop. I would call it gingerbread trim almost, and I have had trims like this, and I have trims like this, and this is one of my favorite trims to use because the way like scalloped edges like this look on a piece is absolutely top-notch stunning. So when I saw this, I think I bought their whole roll of this because I know I'll use it because it's such a nice delicate trim that's also like kind of quiet for a trim. So that's why I picked this up. And then the last thing I picked up from them, I am planning, I don't know if it'll be on camera or off camera, I want to make a full Edwardian corset cover camise. Oh God, pronunciation is running away from me. But I want to make one of those, and then I also want to make a pair of drawers, and I want them all to have like a really, really beautiful, colorful trim. And this is like a really nice periwinkle color, and it's a velvet rayon. And I just thought this was perfect for it, so I picked up their whole yardage of this, which is a little bit insane, but let's be honest, I am not one for being the most normal. Another notion that I want to talk about, so I have, let's just show you. Jesus Christ. Okay, we have zippers on zippers on zippers. This is a Stephanie Canada haul. She put up a ton of metal zippers, and I was able to choose my color varieties. I've generally noticed I go through a lot of navy, I go through a lot of blue, I go through a lot of periwinkle zippers. So I ordered a crap ton of zippers in different colors and the lengths that I find most useful. So I have a bunch of boxes here. I have a ton of zippers here. I'm gonna incorporate these into my stash. And they're also the Coats and Clark, or JP and Coats, or whatever the heck you want to call it, zippers that I'm gonna throw into my stash. These were color gaps I had. I looked at my whole zipper stash before I ordered these, and I only ordered things that I felt like filled gaps. But I will say this plus these does feel like a sort of crazy amount of zippers to buy, but I do use metal zippers like crazy, and there's only so many left in the world. So the fact that she got this beautiful, perfect, like full set of metal zippers, I feel like an airline person. Go find the metal zippers. But the fact that she got all of these in stock, I just kind of like spent the money, did the deed, because I wanted to make sure my zipper stash was kind of revitalized, because I'm definitely right now finding myself using a lot of compromise zippers because I'm out of my favorite colors. This is an excess. A normal person does not need this many metal zippers, and I do not advocate for buying this many zippers. However, I love metal zippers, and they don't really manufacture them anymore. So when I come across this selection of metal zippers, I'm going to pick them up. So many zippers! Oh God, I'm making such a mess. Next up, I guess, we have more zippers. These were from Seattle Recreative. I was recently making a skirt and a pair of shorts, and I noticed I didn't have any 7-inch navy colored zippers, so I picked up a bunch of them from Recreative, and by a bunch of them, I mean 3. And then continuing along, I have a vintage Girl Scout uniform that I've been kind of trying to hunt down patches from. And while at a antique mall in Seattle, I think, trying to remember where this antique mall. I stumbled across an antique mall that had a whole bunch of vintage Girl Scout badges, so I'm gonna retroactively give my Girl Scout uniform some badges. I have, I think, 3 here that I know for sure are Girl Scout. I have to do the research. I don't want to put anything on it if it's not related to Girl Scouts. When I show you the photo, I'll cover the name, but this is a Boy Scout badge for soil and water conservation. So I'm not going to put that on my Girl Scout uniform. And then this guy here is a Pacific Science Center. So this had to be around Seattle. I'm trying to remember for the life of me where I found these. And my goal is I would like to find the perfect pair of overalls and use these badges and like make just like a fun, very patchy, cute little pair of overalls for myself. And I really feel like this 2010, so not even vintage yet, Pacific Science Center patch will be a perfect addition to that, as well as this Boy Scout patch. We'll continue on to patterns now. Sorry, I feel like that took forever. So when I've been looking at patterns, I'm looking at a few things right now. I have moved from a vintage size 12 to a vintage size 14 in patterns as my preferred size. So I've been trying to build up my size 14 collection a little bit, because I am sure in the next few years I'll make the jump to the 16, and I don't want to like completely lose my size 12 collection, if that makes sense. So I've been working towards upsizing my collection a little bit. For the shirts, something that I'm looking for, I've made a lot more shirts. I now know I'm looking for something that I can do like a little bit of pattern play, such as a stripe, such as like this guy here. I know that I don't like a tight sleeve. I know that I want a little poofy sleeve like this guy, but also I thought this little vest with the tiniest little sleeves on it, so I guess it's technically a shirt, would be really cute for summer and a great way to use some of my weird yardages. This Vogue, admittedly, I hate sewing Vogue patterns. I think the instructions are incredibly confusing, but I couldn't pass up this like double bib collar situation on this guy. I really want to make this up, see how it ends up, because I'm so curious, and I think this could be really, really cool. This guy here is just your straightforward button-down shirt. Nothing too exciting to report here. I picked it up because I just need a slightly bigger plain button-up blouses. This is a size 16, but it says it's a bust 34, which is my best measurement right now. So I'm hoping it will still work. I'm also just trying to trial some cheaper size 16 patterns to see when the bust is like labeled as at 34, if it will actually work for me. Because sometimes when I make up these patterns, I find them just like much too big for me in general. This guy here is just a gajillion pin tucks because I hate myself, but also look at these sleeves. They're absolutely stunning. This one I think I've made. I'm trying to remember. I love the scalloped collar. I love the sleeve shape and the scalloped cuffs. And then I also think it has a great sleeveless option. Looks like it's really meant to design with a stripe, which I love. This guy here is another bunch of pin tucks. The other perk here, I don't quite know what the closure situation is here. It doesn't seem to have like necessarily the visible button up, which is something I'm looking for to put with my pinafores and overalls. This guy here is just me being a goof. I did not know I was going to a Renaissance fair when I bought this pattern, but looking at it, it should be perfect for it. I just am kind of overall building up my historical adjacent costumes. Like, this is not a real historical pattern, but I'm just kind of looking for some different patterns in my collection that can help me get some of the kind of more like cottagecore days situation type patterns. And this was a great one, and it was available at a pretty good price. This guy here, I own this pattern in a size that is now 2 sizes too small for me, and this one at a size 16 should fit me really well, so I'm pretty excited to use it. It's one of my much beloved patterns that I use a lot. I just was trying to find it in my current size, so I didn't have to make so many pattern changes. I have not been able to get the pattern changes right on that one. This guy here is just another kind of ridiculous peasant blouse that I think will look really good with overalls. And same, I guess, with this 1940s, minus the ridiculous. The 70s stay in ridiculous land, but the 40s, this is pretty and will hopefully allow for me to get rid of some of my not so great patterns that I have left for fits. This guy here, super cute, another bunch of pin tucks. I like the sheer options. They also have some really interesting initial options, as well as some lace and collar options. So I thought this would be a really multi-purpose blouse. And this guy here, she's adorable. She is a size 18 and a bust 36, which feels like it's getting a little bit big for me. So I'll probably make this using a mock-up fabric to see how big the shoulders sit. In theory, the bust should not be too far off. I'm just generally like preparing my pattern collection for me to continue to have all these fluctuations and have a better variety of sizes so I don't get as frustrated with it, which is why I feel like I'm getting these like size 16 and 18s, is just for when those fluctuations come in. Another kind of like related topic on fluctuations, I'm working on a bunch of skirts, adding them to my collection. A bunch of these are actually wrap skirts or like skirts that have a little bit of adjustment. This is a really cute, I don't think it's technically, sorry, I'm feeling really overstimulated. This sound always really gets me, like, hits my brain in not a great way. But this one's really cute. I think I would still qualify this technically a little bit as a wrap skirt. I think my plan is to make it a tiny bit bigger and place the buttons and then be able to expand it. So this one, I just thought it was a really great silhouette, so I picked it up. It is definitely gonna take some size adjusting. So it was a questionable decision. This guy, I had a gray wrap skirt, gray wool wrap skirt that I adored. I finally grew out of it, so I found a pattern pretty darn close to that original design, and I have a bunch of gray wool that I can basically make the same design with, so I'm pretty excited to make this one up, and that is the reason I picked up this guy. This guy is a 28-inch waist, which should be pretty close to my waist to give me that half skirt pattern, half circle skirt. I have a half circle skirt pattern right now that I have to add an additional 2 to 4 inches in. So I just wanted to get one that is hopefully closer to my measurements, so that way I can retire the old one and stop having to make the alterations I need to make right now to make it fit. This one is a full circle skirt with the cutest little tulip applique things. These are actually patterned in here, and I thought they would be really fun. I was thinking, wow, this looks like the skirt I just showed you. So this skirt is technically different. I think it's really interesting because it has these darts and then it looks like it has pleating in the back almost. I'm not quite sure how this skirt works, but I'm very curious and I'm very excited to find out. And then this last skirt is just a plain 6 square skirt that is not too full. I find that I only like a half circle skirt because a full circle skirt becomes kind of so poofy to the point that it knocks things off things. It becomes annoying to wear. So I've been kind of looking for that happy medium. I'm not a huge circle skirt person, so I've been trying to find some different gore options, and that also allows me to hopefully use more fabric in my stash. We're gonna try to get through stuff a little bit faster. I just realized I'm 40 minutes into this video, which is insane for a haul. So this guy first. This is the noodle making backpack. Is that right? So I've been looking to make my own backpack specifically for commuting. So I got this noodle backpack pattern to noodle head, not noodle. What am I talking about? To hopefully make a backpack. I don't know yet if I'm going to do this project on this channel because honestly, I'm slightly terrified of this pattern. There's all these specialty interfacings. However, I do plan on making this. It just needs to be big enough to hold my laptop, some snacks, and that's it, my lunches. But right now, my current backpack isn't serving me great in doing that. Going into dresses, first up, I have this really interesting 1960s dress. This isn't my usual silhouette, but I'm just thinking about the different color blocking I could do with this. I think it's a really interesting pattern. I don't know, I'm incredibly curious about this. I don't think I'll likely make it on camera, but I'll definitely show you the results because I think this is gonna be a weird scrap experimentation. This guy here, one of my friends sent me, it's just the Folkwear Lindy shirt dress. I think it's a 1940s reproduction pattern. So far, I've not been super impressed with the fit of Folkwear for me personally. I'll probably give this one a shot anyway. So these guys here, I had a subscriber send me some really awesome Gunny Sacks patterns. Thank you so much for these patterns. I literally squealed when I opened the package. These are 2 Gunny Sacks patterns I don't own and they're perfectly my size. Or they just need a little tapering in. And you know what? Taking a pattern in is so much easier than taking a pattern out. So I have this guy here from that person and I also have this guy here and I'm super excited. I don't think these are going to appear on this channel this year, but I do have plans to use these. Similar Gunny Sacks, pattern. This is not an actual Gunny Sacks pattern, those 2 are actually on brand. This one's not, but it's just a little bit bigger and I liked all the tiers and sleeve options and things like that for this one. I think this has a lot of potential. I've been trying to think of how to show you guys how to make a Gunny Sacks dress without spending the money on a Gunny Sacks pattern. So I've just been kind of thinking about that and trying to figure that out. This is just a probably 50s pattern that is I just really liked this hip button detail. I think it's really stunning. It's my size, my current size. And yeah, I'm intrigued by it and I'm trying to get some things that are going to challenge me more in how to fit a pattern for myself. So this will fit great for me bodice wise, but I'm going to have to do some alterations to get the rear to fit me nicely. Next up, I think this is a 50s and a 60s ice skating / cheerleader / tap dancing costume. So this guy here I got because I really like this blouse. Let's be honest, this blouse is stunning. I know it's for a costume, but I think it's perfection and it would then give me some good options with overalls. I don't super love a button up with an overall and this is a button back. I love the little hot pant short things. And then who doesn't love an ice skating costume? And then this guy here is the full meal deal ice skating costume, cheerleading costume, whole shebang. I kind of love the camp of this type of look and I love making things from past eras that are this short, if that makes sense, because I feel there's this misconception about modesty in past eras, and so using a pattern like this to make something is really fun for me because it just kind of challenges some of those stereotypes of the era. This cheerleader definitely still has a short skirt. You know, this guy, I'm gonna end up, I think, not using it. Too soon to say for sure. This I purchased as maybe a use for a feather layered dress that I'm working on. I don't know yet if I have fully ruled this guy out. I think it's gonna just require too much yardage, feathers, whatever. The reason I did purchase it was for that project and now I'm just kind of rethinking everything, if that makes sense. Sometimes you have a great idea and then you act on that idea and then you realize that idea won't work. We also have some interesting, this is just a 1940s apron loose house dress thing. I've been loving these lately and I really liked the bow button back front situation of this guy. This one here, I've just been finding myself loving having no gathers on the front and all these gathers on my hips. I love the silhouette it gives me. So when I saw this pattern, I thought it would be so fun to try because I think it will really do that like hip emphasis thing that I'm really enjoying right now. This guy is a pinafore. I have been on the hunt for some different pinafores and I thought this guy was super cute. It comes with a dicky as well, which I am a sucker for. The next three I'm going to show you are some different 1940s dress. I think this one will be great for some rayon I have on hand. I love, again, these little hip ruffles. I'm just kind of thinking of ways to like emphasize, like I'm a very hippie person compared to the portion of my waist. So I've just been thinking of ways to kind of play that up, emphasize it, and have fun with it as opposed to like feel weird societal feelings about it. So that's one of the reasons I got this pattern. This pattern I absolutely love. The neckline on this is fascinating. So I can't wait to make this guy up. And this one, so Stephanie Canada has a pattern that the lines reminds me of this that she uses all the time. So I just kind of wanted to try my own version of it. Of course, this has sleeves. Hers is sleeveless because she lives in Florida, but I live in the Pacific Northwest. So I wanted to kind of, it's like that same gathered sleeve thing that her, like when I think of Stephanie Canada and the dresses she wears, I think of this silhouette kind of in the shoulder bust area. And I just wanted to try it on me because you see your friends do fun things and sometimes they do influence you. This guy is just a stunning 1940s like gathered skirt, size flexible piece. And again, I think this is such a fun example to show you how the 1940s and 50s were not as modest as you think they are. I think I'm gonna look so cute in this little set. This guy here, I am currently thinking about, I really want to make some different Western patterns either this year or next year. And this was the perfect pattern for this. Ideally, I would have liked to find it in a size 14, but at a size 12, it shouldn't be too much to get it to fit, although I'm gonna have to figure out that whole rear adjustment thing. And then very last, I'm so excited. You're gonna see this pattern later this year on this channel. This is a beautiful little like girly coat. I love the lines of this and it just feels, I think it's 1830s. It feels very 1830s to me, even though I think it's 1940s. And I just think it's a really fun coat that plays on like this kind of childlike innocence that there was an expectation on women to have. And I love to wear stuff like this and just kind of subvert the expectations of what that looks like. So I think this will be a super fun coat to make and stay tuned. You are going to see this later this year. Wow, this video is ending up way too long. We have made it to fabric. So my fabric is going, I think, from least expensive to most expensive. There's not necessarily a like most excited to least excited situation here. So first, I'll just show you, I have a couple linens here. They're nothing that exciting. I'm collecting doilies for a project next year. I'm feeling really excited about. I just have to figure out exactly what I'm doing and I need to get my serger fixed. But these are just a couple doilies that I have here to contribute to that. These I got in some fabric swaps. This is just like a beautiful light peachy, orange, blue, whatever plaid. It's a wool. I think it's stunning. It's perfect for some of those skirt patterns I showed you. I've been really into wool skirts for fall, winter to spring here in Seattle. So this I am going to knock one of those out of. This guy here I picked up also in a fabric swap. What did I get on this? Oh, I probably didn't take off the label before I washed it. It's just like a rainbow linen. I think it's going to be really cute. I think I might make one of those cute little sleeveless shirts out of it. And this guy here, a subscriber sent to me. I absolutely adore it. It's this really fun abstract teal print. I think I'll probably make like a cute little 50s dress from this. I actually have a pretty decent yardage at 4¼ yards. So I'd really like to make something like fun and flirty with it. I'm just, again, going in order of place that I got these. So next up, these are all things I got at Seattle Recreative. This first one, I'll take an image of. Hopefully you can see it. It's like this kind of scaly white rayon. I plan on mostly using this for linings and jackets. I think it's the perfect jacket lining because it has that little bit of interest detail while also being like subtle. And the white should hopefully like play well with a ton of different colors. I think I have a like bright teal coat that I'm working on that I'll likely use this as lining. And then this guy here is just a really beautiful navy cotton with like a fun wavy print. This actually reminds me of one of the trims I showed you earlier, and if I can figure out how to put them together, I will be putting them together in this piece here. And then lastly from Seattle Creative, I was not gonna get this, I was gonna be responsible, but it's like this little pantry scene with cats. I don't know if this is actually a vintage fabric or if it's vintage reproduction. I don't totally know what its deal is, but I think it's super cute. And I mean, these cats, come on. So I don't quite know yet what I'm gonna make it with. My friend who I was with when I picked this up got a yard and she's gonna make a bag with it. I think this is slightly too thin for a bag. I'm debating either an apron or a blouse. Let me know what you think about this guy. And then next up, these are all from Glenna. This is just a beautiful blue and purple plaid wool that I think will make a really beautiful skirt. This is a more neutral wool, again from Glenna's. This is just like some gray and brown, which is actually fantastic because when you make something with a wool with this many colors in it, it just turns out like really neutral. You can put it with black shoes, you can put it with gray shoes, and like your accessories are fully open. So I love stuff like this. And last from Glenna's, I picked up this ridiculous purple corduroy. It has a giant, I think it's called a whale to it. And I just kind of want to make a really, really spunky little skirt out of this. I have a pair of purple corduroy overalls, so I don't plan on going in that direction. I just think this would make a fun little skirt. Next up, Style Maker Fabrics. They are located just north of Seattle. I think they have a fantastic variety. And the first thing I have to show from them is this guy here. This is just a blue and white gingham. I got this specifically to use with a very specific trim in mind that I was having a hard time figuring out to use. I am thinking I'm gonna make a tiered skirt with a trim. You're gonna see what this looks like. Ooh, I might make this up and then maybe even tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how wild I'm feeling, but I think this will be a really great addition to my wardrobe and a great use of the trim that I have in mind. Next up, I bought this. This is like this really cute teal and like blue/black cat fabric, and I got this because I want to make a new ironing board cover. My ironing board cover is this like just like beige ugly fabric that now as I've used it has gotten like these gross stains in it and like burnt a little. So I just kind of want to make a cover to cover my cover in that I can easily take off and wash and take advantage of like the different padding and things going on with my cover, but have it covered in this. And then this guy here is a rayon. It has like these dark leaves. It's like kind of eggplanty color, and it's again this rayon, and I have been looking at this rayon for over a year, so I finally decided to pull the trigger and purchase it. Kind of in general, my rule is if I've really been thinking for something for over a year, it's okay if I buy it. So that is why I picked up this guy. And this guy is a really beautiful Japanese print with these pink houses. This just feels super vintagey to me, both in color and in kind of like feel. It's a lawn. It'll make a gorgeous little dress. This guy here is another rayon. I purchased this with a very specific dress in mind. I made a like paisley purple dress a really long time ago on this channel. I have since outgrown it, and I want to make something pretty similar to it, and I think this would be really beautiful and actually even more flowy than that fabric. And last from Style Maker, I think this is a linen blend, but it's like this nice light blue and navy mix. And I have a ton of trims that are gonna look stunning with this. And I'm trying to decide if I want this to be like a suit, top, and skirt situation, or what exactly I want to do with this. But trust me, you'll see this. It will absolutely show up in a video in the future. Next up, this is just a random antique mall find. This is actually a reproduction faux quilt block pattern, but I have a couple of things in mind that I'll use this with in the future. And next up, I have two from Sewn, which is a vintage fabric store. Well, they sell a lot of things, but if you go to the back, there's a ton of vintage fabric in Denver. I have this gorgeous little purple and green clover print. It's absolutely stunning. I love this print so much. I can't wait to make something with it. And also from them, I have this little like checkered pink and teal print that I think is oh so lovely. And last is from Allen's. Oh wait, I just found some pink buttons that I guess I'll throw in. I picked these up today at Sailor Creative while meeting some friends. But Allen's. Allen's is a fabric store in Denver. They have a lot of really interesting fabrics there. I put fabric shops into different categories, and a lot of fabric stores these days, there's nothing wrong with it, but they carry really similar stock. Allen's does not carry anything that I feel like you're gonna see anywhere else. In fact, a lot of their stuff I think has just been sitting there for decades. And so I really like going to there to find just some really interesting like brocades and silks and things. So that's mostly what you're gonna see here. First up, I think this is a rayon brocade. I can't quite remember. I picked this up to either make like a little vest or a little corset. I don't quite know exactly what I want to make with this. I think I was thinking vest or stays, but I'm not 100% positive. Another beautiful, this is an Allen's silk. Probably, I guess technically it's a charmeuse. It's this really beautiful purple, pink, floral, lavender silk. It's absolutely stunning. It has great flow. I got 5 yards of this because I'll probably do a 1930s silhouette bias cut situation on this guy. But yeah, it's absolutely stunning, and they have such a phenomenal array of silks. In fact, I think everything I'm about to show you from them that's left is all silk. This guy here, I'm gonna make a little blouse with. It's a very subtle floral print silk that's like in one of my favorite colors. It's kind of like, it's not quite periwinkle, it's a little too baby blue for periwinkle, but it has this like translucency to it that I think is absolutely lovely. And again, the flow and the drape of this is fantastic. And then last, these are some silk brocades that I picked up. I will likely make a pair of stays with these or a corset, but I don't know, we'll see. There's this lovely blue one with these like kind of cotton candy colors throughout it. It's very floral, very beautiful. You can see it's really interesting because it has this stripe situation, right? And then the last one is this beautiful black silk brocade. So highly recommend Allen's if you're looking for something really different. But that concludes, oh wait, hold up. This is a really boring fabric I'm gonna throw in real quick. I got 50 yards of this at an estate sale for $50, so it's $1 a yard. This is gonna be my mock-up fabric from the future. And I might also dye it and make some other garments. I think I'm gonna do some ice dyeing experimentation with it. We'll see where it goes, but it's $1 a yard, so it's pretty low stakes. Sorry, I'm talking fast because my camera battery is about to run out and I am not doing a 2 battery video. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this haul. Definitely, I'll link all the fabric stores that I mentioned that I remember down below. And of course, subscribe and stick around to see these projects get made up. I have plans for some of them in the near future. And as always, you can comment down below and like this video to support my channel. I always really appreciate it. Thank you for being here and watching my videos. I will see you next Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Bye.